Muted. Make sure you get my monologue.
Sue and prosecute it. Spoke up about the fraudulent election.
D.
I would use my powers to shut down all your internet businesses and bankrupt you. If I was the deep state, I would make everyone an example why you should never question a Democrat ever winning an election. I would imprison my foes. I would use my corrupt DAs and blackmail judges to destroy you. I would make sure all crimes I ever committed never happened. I would prosecute my biggest competition. I would make sure they could never run for office ever again. If I was the deep state, I would convince everyone that Ukraine Nazis were good and women are men. If I was the deep state, I would own every politician that mattered. If I was the deep state, I would push my pedophilia ambitions on you. If I was the deep state, you'd question your sexual identity but not the medical establishment. If I was the deep state, you would fear to ever resist me. If I was the deep state, you would wish I was really the devil. If I was the deep state, I would say mission accomplished.
Well, if I were the deep state, that's exactly what I would do. I'd manipulate the system to crush dissent, silence opposition, and destroy anyone who dares to speak up against the agenda. I'd target patriots, good men and women, just like the guests we're going to have on today, who dedicate their lives to serving this country only to be persecuted, smeared, and dragged through the courts for daring to stand for what's right. If I were the deep state, I'd ensure the media was my puppet, spinning narratives, burying stories, and protecting the elites. I'd make sure the public was spoon-fed selective outrage, covering every inch of Trump's legal battles, fabricating scandal after scandal while turning a blind eye to the Bidens, Hunter's laptop, Ukraine dealings, questionable actions in their family. I'd let liberal policies and politicians call for violence, allow cities to burn while simultaneously condemning conservatives for exercising their First Amendment rights. I'd twist justice, making a raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago front page news while pretending Joe Biden's own mishandling of classified documents was a mere oversight. And finally, I'd destroy the American spirit. I'd make it so that standing up for your values, showing up to rallies, defending freedom of speech, questioning the narratives, becomes an act of treason. I'd make sure people like Cisco, our guest today, who fought for this country, are branded as the enemy, and I'd sit back and watch as a once great nation crumbled under the weight of its own deception. But this isn't just a conspiracy. This is exactly what's happening. Cisco's story is just one of many examples of how the system has been weaponized against those who refuse to fall in line. Cisco, a Navy veteran, a proud patriot, standing in defense of his country, now finds himself in the crosshairs of a legal system bent on making an example out of him. And for what? For daring to show up? For standing in opposition to the chaos and corruption running rampant in this country? But today we're not just talking about Cisco's case. We're talking about the broader picture, the political persecution of anyone who dares to challenge the status quo. We're going to take you back to the chaos of 2020 when cities burned. Cities just like the one under the Democratic vice presidential nominee, when lawlessness was condoned by the likes of Kamala Harris, and when the media did everything in their power to protect those responsible. We'll show you their calls for violence that were conveniently swept under the rug, and the stories of those who paid the price for standing in opposition to it. We're going to talk about Hunter Biden, whose shady dealings and laptop scandal were buried by a complicit media. And we're going to compare that to the media circus around Trump and his legal battles, a raid on Mar-a-Lago, and how that became a spectacle. The double standards, the political targeting, the deep state's grip on our nation. It's all connected. And today, we're pulling back the curtain. So stick with us, because we're going to reveal the truth. And once you see the truth, once you know the truth, you can't unsee it. So, guys, thank you for being with me today. We're going to have an excellent conversation with the great Patriot. We're going to talk about all of these things. But before we do, I want to get into a few of our sponsors and thank them for helping bring the truth on a daily basis. First of all, I want to thank Freedom 2.0. Freedom 2.0 is part of the 511 family. I proudly say that they're part of us. They've backed us in many ways. They've been on our shows. They stand for First Amendment freedoms. They stand for Second Amendment freedoms. They're in the fight with us. We have to support the companies that support us. Unlike the woke companies that stand in opposition to us, like Fiji Water, like Starbucks, many of the others. We have to support those who support us. Go check out Freedom 2.0, freedom20.com. Use code 511 for 15% off. And I also want to give a quick shout out to one of our longest time sponsors, Covenant Coffee. Covenant Coffee and Randy Martin are doing the work of the Lord in Bakersfield, California, supporting emancipated foster youth, providing jobs, mentorship, housing, and much more to the people that become so often a statistic. Not only do they have a great mission and a great cause, but they have great coffee too. You can go check them out online, covenantcoffee.org. Or if you're in Bakersfield, you can check them out across the street from us at Mohawk in California or on North Chester. Also want to let you know about a resource that our team here at 511 created just for all of you guys. We had many people come to us and ask us, how do we get involved? How do we make a difference? So we put together something extra special for you guys, the Election Strategy Playbook. We're really proud of this resource. You guys can go check it out right on our website, 511media.co. When you go to the homepage, there'll be a box for you to sign up to get the playbook. And we're walking you through exposing all the lies of the media, all the lies of the left, and what you can do about it, how you can make a difference, how you can make a stand. So go check it out today. Free of charge. Just a resource we put together just for you guys. So I want to thank you guys. And we also want to make a couple announcements. A couple events we're going to be coming up very, very soon. First of all is going to be the Night of Faith in Tampa with Blexit. Saturday, November 2nd from 5 to 7 p.m. If you're in the Tampa area, we're going to have an awesome night of worship. Going to have awesome speakers supporting, again, our First Amendment rights, our Second Amendment rights, our right to gather, our right to worship, our right to speak freely. If you are interested, if you're in the area or you'd like to travel, we have a link that we'll drop in the comments for you guys, so you can go check it out. The second event is coming up in December. These events are coming right around the corner, guys. December 19th through the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona, America Fest with TP USA. We got a little promo video we'd like to play for you guys on that one. Go ahead, Darius, and bring that up.
What you represent, your presence here, that the largest multi-day event in conservative grassroots history. Is a message that will be heard by these people.
Phoenix, Arizona, people from all over the country.
It's quite remarkable because it brings everybody
One
together.
of my favorite of the year.
Energy, the left doesn't want you to see it.
The stakes are high. We have only begun to fight.
So, guys, be there. Support the organizations that are doing the work with us, that are locked arms, that are standing for true patriots. Guys, it's going to be a celebration, and I know that there's a lot of discouraging news out there about the polls, and, you know, they're trying to tell you that Kamala's ahead. They're gaslighting you. They're lying to you, just like we tell you every day. We're going to be there in December celebrating victory for Trump. We're going to be celebrating victory for conservative values, for our Christian values. Guys, would love to see you there. December 19th through the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona. And now's the time I want to introduce Cisco. Cisco to our audience. Cisco, I'm proud to call a friend. Cisco, awesome to have you here, brother.
How you doing, Mike? Thanks for having me, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm pumped to have the conversation with you. And I think that we can kind of say that this is almost like a 511 exclusive to have a conversation with you.
Yeah. Really, since the trial, I'm not speaking to the media. You know, I don't think I need to tell you or anybody in your audience what the media has in store for me and for others like me. So I'm very cautious of who I talk to. Yeah.
So, guys, Cisco has been part of a group of patriots that are being persecuted in the liberal court of Austin, Texas. There was a trial that just ended. And Cisco, I'm going to let you talk about the trial because I want you to feel comfortable saying whatever you can say and then holding back on what you might not be able to say, because I know there's some ongoing stuff.
Yeah. I really wish I had something compelling, something crazy to tell you and your audience on what I did and make it like I came out guns blazing and bodies were falling, and none of that happened. It was literally this person that I knew. We saw a flyer from the Biden-Harris tour bus coming through Texas. We laughed. We thought it would be funny that if we gathered a bunch of other people, you know, with our Trump flags, follow them at every stop, let them know what Texan values are all about as far as, you know, standing for the unborn, protecting the lives of the unborn, you know, defending the police instead of defunding them, you know, our border, everything involved with our values. You know, they were coming over here and we don't stand for that. A lot of us here in Texas don't stand for that. And I know where I stand. So I just wanted to really be involved in protesting them at every stop. That was it. One of the individuals wrote a flyer, which I'm not really computer savvy. They do all that. He took it upon himself. And he wrote Operation Block the Bus. That was something that they harped on us. You wanted to block I was like, anyway, I'll keep going. So that's what they hit us on. And that way they had a conspiracy to where everybody knew what was going on. And literally that's it. There was a collision. The white car hit me. I had nowhere to go. I had evidence of that, of me saying the day of, like, these people are fucking crazy. You know, he hit me. It was on Facebook. They, one of my friends had asked me, "Hey, Cisco, was that you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me. I slammed that effer." But they just used that. There was no context behind it. You know, because these people were being so aggressive, the bus driver and the driver of the staffer of the white car, aggressive to people, like trying to hit people, running them off the road. They were doing that to us. But then media got a hold of it and then turned it all the way in and
like they always do, completely spin it. Yeah.
Made it look like it was me. And I was pissed. So that's why I said that. Yeah, I slammed that, you know, and then I think I called him. I called my friend, Brokemeyer, and then other people were commenting. I'm a caller. I'm not a texter. I'm not like constantly on social. I just don't do that. And then I posted, you know, some other stuff. I was like, yeah, he hit me. I had nowhere else to go. They did not want to put that in the in the court. They just use that one specific part to everybody to make me look horrible.
Yeah, and Cisco, would it be okay if we played the news clip from I think it's Fox 7?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and bring that up, D.
We're starting with breaking news tonight. Most of the Trump-trained drivers have been cleared, but one driver will have to pay up. The group of former President Trump supporters surrounded a Biden-Harris campaign bus on I-35 in San Marcos. This was just days before the 2020 election. 3 people on the bus sued, claiming that Trump train violated federal law. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis joining us live from the federal courthouse downtown, where the jury decided the driver's fate this afternoon. Meredith.
Yeah, Mike, the jury started deliberating late on Friday. They picked back up this morning, and at a little before 4 o'clock this evening, they made their decision. 5 defendants were cleared. 1 man was found liable for $40,000. He's from San Antonio. He's credited with organizing the Trump train, and during the event, he sideswiped a campaign staffer's vehicle that was following the bus. He will pay the bus driver $20,000 and the other 2 plaintiffs $10,000. Nearly 4 years ago, a Trump train with dozens of cars and trucks sporting Trump flags surrounded a Biden-Harris campaign bus on I-35 as it traveled from San Antonio to Austin. Video shows vehicles swerving in and out of traffic and slowing the bus at times to 15 miles per hour. The prosecutors claim the defendants organized a politically motivated conspiracy to disrupt the Biden-Harris campaign and intimidate its supporters. The people who were on the bus say they've suffered anxiety since the incident. On the other side, the defense says this case is an abuse of the judicial system. Defendants argue they didn't intend to prevent political activity, and the incident was an exercise in free speech to show support for their candidate.
Anytime political speech is heard before the courts, it generally has the highest protection, and the courts then have to determine where does that free speech actually end.
That's part of what jurors are deliberating after 2 weeks of trial in an Austin federal courtroom.
We have to be careful, because if we start using laws to stifle political speech and speech we disagree with, then people are going to be afraid. But similarly, the right to free speech is not absolute, and it doesn't include violence and intimidation. There are limits to that. So they're walking a very fine line here.
The 6 defendants face 3 different counts: violation of the federal Ku Klux Klan Act and violation of 2 Texas laws against civil conspiracy and civil assault. The plaintiffs say this case shows that it is not acceptable to intimidate, threaten, or harass people who are trying to campaign. They say although they don't necessarily agree with the decision for the 5 plaintiffs who were cleared, they do respect the decision.
Each of us really had one interest at heart, and that was making sure that in elections going forward, people will understand that it is not acceptable to intimidate, harass, and threaten people who want nothing more than to express their right to support the candidate of their choice.
2 people who were named in the original lawsuit did settle before this case went to trial. The plaintiffs say this case is closed. The defendants and their attorneys decided not to comment this afternoon. Reporting live from the federal courthouse, Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
All right, guys. So first of all, we have a Hispanic man being accused of being KKK, being part of the KKK Act, and it looks like Cisco, this may be the first time you've actually seen this clip, and this is public, and I've seen this before, but you can see the conspiratorial lies of the left and what the mainstream media, again, always trying to gaslight, and we're going to get into more of the gaslighting and the lying that they bring us every single day because they're trying to sway the election, and we know what's at stake, but it's patriots like Cisco that they are persecuting, prosecuting, coming against, and guys, we have to lock arms and stand together. together because no one's going to do it for us. We have the corrupt establishment, the corrupt deep state, the corrupt media that is all against us in every way possible. And guys, we can't continue to take it. So Cisco, what are your thoughts after seeing this? Because again, I know that this is probably the first time you've seen this video.
It hurts, man. It hurts. This is the country that I have an absolute passion for. I mean, I can't even explain to you. The people that know me, they know how I feel.
All it took me was like 5 minutes of talking to you, Cisco, and I told my wife when I hung up with you last night, I said, this man right here is a true Texan through and through. He's someone who stands, and you've sent me evidence and proof of you standing and standing for your country and standing for the things, the liberal media and the commies, Antifa, BLM, and all the others, the things that they're in opposition to, essentially our freedoms that they're trying to strip away. You served for 12 years in our military, Cisco, and this is what they're doing to you, and it's despicable.
I think it's more that the justice system is allowing this to happen.
Yeah,
they allowed that in my country. They allowed this group of people. Now, this is what I feel. This is just what I feel. They allowed these protect democracy out of DC, I believe, and then Texas civil rights, and then I don't know, this other group of lawyers to solicit these people. Like, hey, we got a case. We've done so much research on these people. We got so much on Cisneros. We have text message, whatever they had, and they go, we're going to make a case. Do y'all want to come in? And we're going to sue the hell out of them. Y'all going to be in it for millions. And I think they solicited them. There's actually there's some proof, but I need to. The courts allowed it. The courts allowed me to go into $250,000 debt because they don't like who we are. They didn't like the amount of people that we had at every stop, everywhere they were. Yeah. We outnumbered them every time. The courts knew it. They knew it, but they painted a bigger picture than what it was. One of the lawyers actually said in the trial, actually in closing, she was like, lawyers are infamous for turning something small into something really big, and then something really big into something really small. That hit me. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. They have control of that. And they're able to manipulate minds just based on a bunch of BS.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. Would it be, Cisco, a good time or appropriate to play the clip that you sent me that was a little bit controversial? You know which one I'm referring to?
If I sent it to you, yes, you have. You don't have to ask me if I sent it to you. It is on point.
Let's play the clip from Blee.
Okay, so let me turn to the opportunities and drawbacks about civil actions of this sort, and prefacing this by just remember, I'm not an attorney, but Chip is, and he will correct my misperceptions here. But from the point of view of somebody who worked on a case, not as a lawyer, here's what I see. One good thing about these kinds of civil actions is they have the possibility of really debilitating white supremacist groups, not just leaders, but groups. So obviously large judgments can bankrupt groups, cause them to give up property. They could put liens on them that follow them their whole life. They also cause infighting, and infighting to become even more public, which happened over the course of the 3.5 years it took to bring this case to trial. Secondly, they expose. So one really good thing about the use of courts, even civil courts, is it compromises the anonymity that white supremacists rely on. So they rely on the ability of people not to know them or not to know what they're doing. They become quite exposed in these cases. And it generates a great deal of information about how white supremacist movements work. The deposition, subpoenas, and so forth generate a lot of information. And lastly, in an interesting way, it provided a controlled environment for the victims of white supremacist violence to face their white supremacist attackers without, fearing additional harm. So the trial in itself provide that.
Okay, so I don't know if you can comment on this, so that's okay, Cisco. But you guys, you can draw your own conclusions from watching this. They're trying to label Cisco as a white supremacist. First of all, he's not even white to begin with. He obviously identifies as American, Texan through and through, just as I said. But they're trying to target Cisco. They're trying to make an example out of him for a reason. This same woman is someone who had been politically active, going after Trump and Trump supporters all across the board. So there's a little bit of context that y'all need for this, but understand that this was an intentional targeting, not just a random. Hey, let's go after these people because they ran into us. First of all, they ran into you, right, Cisco?
Absolutely. And that got proven. That got proven in court, where their expert, unbiased witness had testified that the accident was caused by me. It was my fault, 100%, whatever he said. And then during cross-examination, they showed him more videos, which he had testified he watched 52 videos at amount. I don't know how many hours he watched. And he came to the conclusion that it was my fault. But then when cross-examination happened, he changed his tune. He changed his tune like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's like y'all have an unbiased witness, a professional, an expert that has 30, 40 years in this. He gets cross-examined by lawyers, then he changes his tune by some people that don't know traffic laws and so forth. Come on, man. Come on.
And the person we just showed you a video of is an anti-Trump liberal who has made a point of classifying anybody who is a Trump supporter, right here, as a white supremacist. And so there's intention behind this, and there's more. Like the liberal media likes to make it look like, hey, we're just going after bad guys. No. There's more here, and we've seen this time and time again. And when we zoom out and look at the broader implications of this, it's not just Cisco they're going after. Look at what they've done to Trump. Look at what they've done to anybody who supports Trump. We deal with it daily here at 511, canceling us on social media, taking down videos for misinformation, hiding our stuff. Cisco, you had your Facebook account completely closed down for, who knows what various reasons. And the thing is, I wanted to share this too, because we want to highlight the good things that you've done in the community, Cisco. And, because again, Cisco's a patriot. And one of the most touching things that I saw was what you did for the was it the Vietnam veteran? It was a veteran, older veteran who was on his deathbed. You can talk about this a little bit, and while we're talking about it, go ahead and bring up the videos as we're talking about it, Darius, or the pictures.
Well, I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who this man was. That's his backyard right there. That's from the highway. We saw this, and this man that's his wife that I presented the very last flag to, his very last flag. Well, it just turned out that this man was dying. The backyard was growing so high with weeds and so forth right there. And you could see this house from the highway as you would drive by. There you go. And this man took care of that backyard so much. He took care of that flag. Every time it was either Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Military Appreciation Day, he always put flags out there. The United States Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. And he did that for years and years and years and years. I couldn't even tell you how many times. The grass started growing. It started growing out of control. And I went, what the heck's going on? So I took it upon myself to exit the freeway one day and try to locate his house. I was driving. And I finally found the house, and I knocked on the door. The lady reluctantly answered. She was like, who in the hell are you? I was in my chef's coat. And I said, hey, this is me. This is who I am. I've noticed this house for the past 10, 20 years. I'm very appreciative. I said, what's going on with, why is he was like, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was like, what's going on with the backyard? Why is the grass not being touched? He was like, my husband had a stroke, and he can't talk, he can't do anything. And I'm like, well, I freaked out. I told her, I will be back. I'll be back. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna finish this for you. So got into my pocket, didn't have a lot of money, but what I had to make sure that this man, before he passed away, saw the side of his house look absolutely amazing. And I wanted to put up a new flag. I wanted the grass to be cut. I wanted him to look at it in the best way that he could. So I spent almost $1,000 on it, and then some work with some friends, a few friends that came out to help, and cleaned it up for him. Got rid of that vehicle. I repainted, redid the stars, made it look absolutely amazing for him. And I think a few days later after that, he passed away. He was a 3-tour Vietnam vet. And I was honored to be able to do that for him. And I think he died happy. And I never got to meet him. Unfortunately, I never got to meet him. I went to his funeral, and it was it felt amazing for me. And
so these are the kind of things that Cisco's been involved in. Cisco's taken his own time to do these things, and these are the types of people that the left hates. And just like they persecuted Donald Trump, and the way they if you all remember the way they raided him at Mar-a-Lago, and all of that went down, and we have two sides, and what's funny is we saw Merrick Garland come out, it wasn't that long ago, say, oh, there's not two systems of justice, we have the same set of laws for everybody. That's not the guy who's saying this is the same guy who's enacting two separate systems of justice. And so when they approached Biden on his records, it basically barely made any headlines. And then with Trump, they came with a kill order to Mar-a-Lago and planted evidence. And we have Darius, let's bring up this video of how they raided Mar-a-Lago.
Following breaking news in South Florida, where the FBI has searched former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Spencer.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Former President Trump issued a lengthy statement on the search just a few hours ago, saying agents had broken open a safe and that his home was, quote, under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents.
Well, this is a live look at the scene in Palm Beach, Florida. Sources close to the situation said the raid is related to a probe of whether Trump had taken classified records from his White House tenure to his Florida residence. The investigation into these records was referred to the Justice Department by the National Archives and Records Administration, which said it had found classified material in 15 boxes at the residence. Sources say this raid has nothing to do with the January 6th committee's investigation into the 2020 election and the Capitol riot. The Justice Department and FBI have yet to comment on the raid. We'll bring you any updates on this breaking situation right here on Fox 5.
New at 10 Atlanta.
And so here we are. They've told us that Trump will weaponize the justice system against the liberals, against the Democrats, if and when he is elected. But here we are with a perfect example, and this was 2 years ago, of how the liberals did exactly that. But they want to say, oh, well, Trump was guilty. Biden did the same thing, and it didn't even make headlines. Here they are with Trump. They sent the FBI to Mar-a-Lago with a kill order. They sent him with a kill order. You don't go after a president with a former president with a kill order. And it is not unusual. It's not atypical for former presidents to have records like this. And we talked about this. This happened 2 years ago, but this is just another example of the hypocrisy of the left. And what they're telling us that Trump is going to do is to weaponize the DOJ, to weaponize the justice system against the Democrats. That's exactly what they've done. But they're also trying to cover their tracks just in case. And by the way, here at 511, Cisco, I think you agree with me. We very much believe and I'll show you proof of this, especially tomorrow, because we got the vice presidential debate tonight. And so we're going to be watching that tonight. We're going to come to you with a panel tomorrow, and we're going to discuss the vice presidential debate. Tim Walz is probably peeing in his pants today, afraid to face J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance, if y'all have heard J.D. Vance is very, very polished. I have been, as well as have several members of our team, front row center at several times where J.D. Vance has spoken. He's going to destroy. I think that tonight, nobody watches the vice presidential debate, mind you. Thank you, Tony. What's up, brother? Nobody watches the vice presidential debate. Tonight, everybody's watching that vice presidential debate. Tonight is going to be the point where you're like, well, they were kind of close. Trump was still ahead. If you look at the Rasmussen polls, Trump's ahead. But if you look at the other polls, and Fox is complicit, I've said that many times, Fox is complicit. But if you look at the Rasmussen polls, Trump is ahead a little bit. After tonight, it's going to be earth-shattering for the liberals. And so we got Walz peeing in his pants, waiting for that debate. And guys, we have to stand up. We can't continue to let this kind of crap come down. Where I was going with that a second ago, what I was trying to say was they're covering their tracks because when Trump gets elected, they know that he's going after them. But he's got a reason to go after them. He's not just going after them because I don't like you guys because you came after me. No. Hey, we're covering our tracks because when Trump gets elected, he's going to come after us. He has an actual reason to, but when he does, we can say, look, we told you he was going to do that. Yeah, we told you he was going to do that because he had every right to and every reason to, because y'all in the deep state need to be come after. Sorry, Cisco, I'm getting a little animated here, but I know you agree with me.
You sound like me. You sound exactly who I am. I think the only thing I need to add to that is we need to be careful of the earrings that Tim Walz is going to be wearing. I think they're going to be very relative to the ones that Kamala wore.
Yeah, hopefully there's no
and nobody on the left is going to question the earrings on Tim Walz. They're not going to be like, yeah, that's totally fine. That's what the fuck. Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. We got him sitting in the back with a horse on standby so he can be prepared with his protein shake. But guys, you have to also understand the context of 2020. They're not going to get away with the same crap they did in 2020 this year because we're wise to it, right? They're still trying some shenanigans, and we'll be talking later this week about the port shutdown. If y'all have been paying attention, the ports on the East Coast and the Gulf, right over where you are, Cisco, just closed down today. There's more to that story also. Look at Biden could step in at any moment and stop that whole thing. He's not. Why? And I know I'm getting a little bit off track here, but it's relevant topical news. One, and I said this before, Biden hates her too. He doesn't want to help her. But two, we'll see if this actually happens. But this is an opportunity for the Dems to step in and say, oh, look, we saved the ports. They're the ones that allowed them to get closed in the first stinking place. Right? Just like she's saying, oh, we're gonna fix the border. What are you talking about? You've been the border czar for the past 4 years. And oh yeah, she's not the border czar. Baloney. Don't buy the crap. So when she comes in later and says, oh, she's either going to say we did fix the borders because they'll do it before November 5th, or they're going to say we're going to fix the borders as soon as I'm elected. Do it now. I'm sorry, Cisco. I'm getting mad today with all this crap.
I feel it. I feel it. You are as passionate as I am.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And we got my brother Tony here, who was on this show just the other day. He's saying they don't care about the hurricane. Where are they when the hurricane? We got people on social media calling for Trump to come save him in the hurricane. He's not even president, but very likely he'll do more than they will because Biden's asleep on a beach somewhere and Kamala's trying to hide from the press. Yeah, we the people are sick of it. Thank you, Tony. Yes, we're sick of it.
Yeah.
And we've been watching this go on for far too long. But I want to go back a second and talk about this case with Cisco, because this happened in 2020. And y'all have to remember the context of 2020 and what was going on in that time. You remember all of the calls from the left for political violence? Do y'all remember that? Darius, do we have the clip on that?
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there is unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
Biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So this is the boiling point. This is the melting pot that the liberals created, and they did get one thing right though, Cisco. We aren't going to stop after November. But but let me clarify what that means, because they say, oh well, y'all want violence. First of all, I have never personally been involved in violence. I've never done anything violent. I've never endorsed violence, and I don't endorse violence. What I do endorse, and what I do want to stand behind every single one of you guys on, Cisco on, and all of my Patriot brothers and sisters on, is standing up for what's right, speaking out against the lies, speaking out against the manipulation, and speaking the truth. But also, and I think this is important to say, the truth in love. And Tony, love your comments, brother. Yeah, try that in a small town. Bring it up, Darius. Try that in a small town. We'll defend ourselves. Just like my brother Cisco right here has done time and time again. Will continue to do. But we're not going to go and create violence for no reason. We are going to stand up for what's right. We are going to stand up for ourselves. We are going to stand up for our fellow citizens. And I don't care if I disagree with you. We've had people on this show multiple times that we disagree with. I don't care if I disagree with you. I will still defend your right to say what you have to say. And Cisco, I know you agree with that too, brother.
Oh, 100. I have to. As an American, I have to. That's an oath that I took, and it will not die with me. It's forever for me. So. Yeah, even if I don't like you or I disagree with you, whatever, I'm fighting for you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's who I am.
That's right. So, guys, we saw the violence that they called for, and again, there's more shenanigans coming. We got a little over a month until Election Day. The ports just shut down. You know, there's going to be chaos, especially across the East Coast from that. But don't think that that's not coming west. I'm in California. Don't think that that's not coming all the way over here in the bluest of blue states. Don't think that they're not trying to look like a hero. Don't think that they're not somehow going to blame the port shutdowns on Trump, right? He hasn't been president for 4 years, but hey, it's Trump's fault that the port's shut down. Just watch. They'll try some crap over there as well.
Yeah.
This is not a state issue, by the way, because it's across the eastern seaboard and into the Gulf area. So it is a national issue. What are they doing to address this? Why did they even allow it to happen? What are they doing to address the hurricane and what's going on over there? We got many brothers and sisters over in Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and all of that area that was massively affected, underwater still to this day, and who knows when they're going to recover. That was a surprise storm for most of them, by the way. They knew that the storm was coming. They didn't have any clue how severe it was going to be. And this is one of the biggest storms that I can remember, at least in the past many years. And, meanwhile, we have the liberals, and they've calmed down a little bit, the rhetoric. But where do you think that the assassination attempts on Trump came from? We just showed you proof of them calling for violence right there. They have slowed it down a little bit, but those calls of violence were coming from the president, from the vice president, from those in pop culture, from those in politics, from those in sports. And guys, we can't continue to support the fake Christians like Steph Curry, like so many others that we've seen that are standing in opposition. Do they even understand what they're standing for? You call yourself a Christian and you support late-term abortions? You call yourself a Christian and you support eliminating First Amendment rights? You know that the First Amendment is what protects your rights to gather and worship, right? So I want to show you the violence that was taking place during this time that Cisco was being prosecuted for the time in 2020. So let's show some of that from the Summer of Love, from which, by the way, if y'all remember, started in Minneapolis, Minnesota, because of George Floyd. Lecrae is another one. Thank you, Tony. Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the Democratic nominee for vice president is from. He allowed that to happen for 3 days before he stepped in. Kamala Harris created a GoFundMe account to bail out the people that were doing all this destruction. But let's go ahead and bring this up, Darius.
Follow the law, then.
Yeah.
We're tired.
More than that. It's hot. Bro, it's
a small number of people in the scheme of things protesting to begin with, very few of whom committed acts of violence, but that few was systematic in their efforts to harm police officers and to create damage to police vehicles, to storefronts, to other property. And again, that's not going to get us anywhere. But now it is time for people to go home.
In a time when the political violence was so bad that they had to call in the National Guard to many cities, when a time when the political violence was so bad that there was an entire 6 city blocks of, I believe it was it Seattle or Portland, one of the two. You guys, you can tell me which one it was. I can't quite remember, but I knew it was up in that area. The entire 6 city blocks that were shut down, they called CHOP or Chaz, at a time when all of this was going on, fueled by the leftist media, fueled by the leftist politicians, and upholding someone who was a drug addict, someone who was a criminal as a model citizen, as someone, and we've talked to many of our black brothers and sisters, and they've shared how they try to uphold this as the model citizen. This is the person you need to emulate. This criminal, we need to stand up for his rights. Not saying he should have died. By the way, make sure you mark my words and get me clear. I'm not saying he should have died. I don't think that anybody should die wrongly. And were there things that were done wrong? Absolutely. But for them to allow it to escalate, not only allow it to escalate, but encourage it to escalate to this point, they all should be tried and jailed for treason.
But Mike, he died of a fentanyl overdose. Cops didn't kill him. He had 7 times the amount of fentanyl in somebody's body that was lethal.
That's right.
So the police didn't kill him, and it came out in the autopsy report, but it got shut down.
Well, they had to make an example out of someone, just like they're doing with you.
It's horrible. It's horrible on where we're at in this country, and I think if the media actually reported 50% of what Trump did, we would have an absolute Reagan, 84 Reagan, on this entire nation would be supporting Trump if they reported 50% of his stuff.
Well, just watch. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be far from that, Cisco, especially after tonight. The people that are paying attention just to their bank account, let alone politics, the people that are paying attention to their bank account, understanding how much housing costs, rent, mortgage, groceries, gas, all of those things. If that's the only issue you're voting on, it's obvious who to vote for. And the craziest part about this, and there's people out there who are naive enough to fall for it. The craziest part about this is they want to say that all of the good was the Democrats. And
they're in my family.
All the negative, all the inflation was caused by Trump.
They're in my family, Mike. They're in my family. I've proven to these people. I have showed them. I have demonstrated to them, what's important to you. Secure borders, that they're in line with it. The protection of children. Men don't belong in women's sports. Men cannot be. We need to defend the police. Everything that I said to my family, they are in line with. But they have been programmed and brainwashed to hate Trump, and they are Democrat no matter. And I'm like, do you not? I can't explain it anymore to them. I literally feel I am talking to a 2-year-old. It's. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words a lot of times, and I just have to hang up. Like, you just don't understand what's happening to you. It's hard for them. It's easier to fool someone than it is to convince somebody they've been fooled. So
yeah. Well, they got it coming from all angles, from sports figures, from pop culture figures, from politicians, from the liberal media, and I will say it again, and I will say it till I'm blue in the face. Fox News as well.
Yeah.
Fox News don't believe anything they say either. But guys,
let's go till you're red in the face, not blue in the face. Blue won't look good on you, brother.
Yeah. But you know, they're blind to what's going on. They mostly, I would assume, Cisco, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, they agree with the values that we agree on, but they're still voting Democrat because they believe the lies of the media, the manipulation.
I 100% agree. Again, I mean, we're aligned on just about everything, Mike. I can't even say just about everything. We're aligned on everything. It's crazy to talk to some of these Democrats. It is absolutely crazy. If they believe everything that they tell them, everything. They will not do any of the research, and even when they do research, it's not believable to them. Because, like I said, it's easier to fool someone that they have to admit that they've been fooled. They have been lied to this entire time, and what that brings in is that they're stupid, that they're ignorant, that they're dumb, that to believe this stuff, and that's something very hard to admit to.
Well, it's never too late to wake up.
Yeah.
But Cisco, let's talk for the last few minutes we have here about your GoFundMe, because talk about why, talk about the fines and those things, $40,000 that they placed on you, and you know, how we can help.
So they fined me $10,000 to give to the bus driver for his mental anguish, which was really laughable. He never saw the accident. The accident happened behind him. People in the bus didn't know an accident happened. The people in the bus thought it was me, and it turned out it was them that caused the accident. And then Wendy Davis and David Gins, and then the bus driver each get $10,000 for me. Wendy Davis was in the bus. They were all, we had video of them laughing and joking and cursing us. Them to run over those a-holes. We're going to run over them. So much more stuff that was made available to the media, but they would refuse to show the truth. So they found me liable for this.
And you're fighting this, right? You're taking it to appeals court, right?
Yeah. I'm literally, if I would have given the $40,000, I laughed at him. They spent almost 4 years on this, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, over 30-something, 40-something lawyers on me and the other defendants. And put that into perspective, 30 to almost 40 lawyers and these organizations, highly funded organizations. We were in a leftist city with probably leftist jurors, maybe, I don't know. Leftist judges. We were outnumbered in every aspect, and they, like I said, they spent in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and all they got was $40,000.
Right. And you were acquitted of the charges anyway, weren't you?
Huh?
You were acquitted of the charges, right?
Well, yeah, and that's what's crazy. I don't know the numbers of, they found me guilty of charge 1 and then I was fine with charge 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 or something to that effect, which nobody was guilty of conspiracy or a crime, but they found me guilty of a conspiracy. So you can't say we found nobody was involved in this conspiracy. There was no conspiracy, but this guy was in a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, was there a conspiracy or not? Because if there wasn't a conspiracy, why are you charging this guy with the conspiracy? The only one. It sounds crazy. So yeah, we're going to fight it. Of course, it may or it may not go to the Fifth Circuit. We don't know yet because the evidence just isn't there. But I'm not worried about the $40,000. I wouldn't ask anybody to help me out to pay for the $40,000 because if I did something wrong, that was on me. I will handle that. But I didn't do anything wrong. But nonetheless, it's my lawyer fees. The majority of my lawyer fees have come out of pocket.
Yeah.
I pay everything that I can when I can, and he's fine, but he tells me he's fine, but he has bills too.
Yeah.
And I know that, but I know he can't survive on what I send him.
Well, and guys, this is the two-sided liberal justice system. And this is Austin, Texas. For most of you guys probably know, Austin, Texas is essentially the San Francisco of Texas. And I used to live right outside of Austin, Texas in Round Rock.
Yeah.
And the entire time I lived there, I think I crossed the border into Austin like twice because I was just like, I don't want no part of that. It's funny because right on that Williamson County border, Cisco, is like an entirely different world. But guys, this was they're trying to make a point, trying to make an example out of someone. I would want to encourage all of you guys, even if you can give $5, $10, let's help out Cisco. Let's help fight for justice. Let's help fight for our First Amendment rights, because that's what's at stake. This is just another example of that. So, guys, Cisco, I want to thank all of you for watching. Cisco, I want to thank you for being here. Do you want to say one last word, Cisco, before we go?
Yeah. Y'all donate up in Bakersfield. I'll go down to Bakersfield. I will. Let's have a couple beers. Let's go eat. Let's talk. I need help. I would love to go out there. The only way I'll go out there is if y'all pitch in for gas for me too. So y'all got to pitch in again.
Yeah, I know how far that drive is, brother. That's about 24 hours nonstop, about 3 tanks of gas. So,
yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. God bless.